Welcome everyone, this is Pineleaf Needles and you are listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Andang,
Hey, everybody.
Harry Adwin,
Hi, hi.
Maven,
Hey y'all!
Arathaert,
Hello, everybody.
and Carvette.
At your service and your families.
And this week's big news is... what did you do with the news?
Well, there is some news. We learned in a forum post that there is not going to be a level cap in Update 17, level cap increase. There will still be the level cap that exists. And also there's going to be a new crafting tier.
Yes, that was a bit of a surprise that would happen. I have a feeling they were originally scheduling a crafting tier increase for the second level cap increase when they're thinking of doing 100, 105, and it sort of
That's my guess too,
it
but
got
maybe they're
left
just
in
wanting to do
limbo
this.
after that. Now they're getting ready to handle that now. But yes, a couple things from post, and as for
I'm actually really
As for
excited.
about the transfers thing, no news yet on that because I think they're still testing bull roars. It can't be going very well if they're still testing that.
Well, they're testing some issues with the transfer on the EU side, is what they said, because
Okay.
keep in mind, and a lot of people don't realize this, it's no fault of Turbine. It's that Codemasters did not keep up to the standards that Turbine set for them to keep. And so they actually messed up the characters, basically, and made it to where they couldn't have been transferred. So if Codemasters hadn't been in charge of it, or if they had done their job better by keeping to Turbine standards, then we wouldn't have the issue of no transfers between EU and US. And so it's kind of annoying that that happened, but that's the situation we're in.
And it looks like there's another problem then also, so if they're having a little trouble on that. All right, so therefore we'll keep you
But it's
posted
good
on what
they're working on getting all those kinks out before they decide to make it live.
Definitely.
True.
That's
Definitely.
why they decided to try bull roar first, is just in case something went wrong like this.
I'm actually really excited about the crafting tier because it's been so long since we've had crafting that meant anything. I mean, other than the consumable stuff. Everyone already has their allies that's at cap, and like you don't really use your crafting for anything except to make relics and decon them. Like that's woo, just what I always wanted to do. But like I'm hoping that the armor, like they have maybe crafted slotted armor or something like that, just something cool
would be
that we
cool.
can make finally again.
How about a decent crafted cloak and a decent crafted offhand for those of us that don't have allies in that spot?
Or maybe we I'm totally
Or
thinking
cloaks
nothing
with
but as an
essence
armorer.
slots.
Maybe we can craft like epic shields.
Epic
Epic
shields would be
looking
cool.
shields. Yeah. And it'd
Or
be their whole
maybe-
section, epic shields. Yeah.
Maybe the 10th crafting tier will be for a higher level cap and you just can't use any of the stuff that you craft yet.
Or
That'd be
how
awesome.
about this? The crafting tier is going to be for cosmetic weapons.
Right.
A whole tier for
Right.
cosmetic weapons.
Right.
The
because
bakers
no one's
make
gonna use them for
cosmetic
anything else
weapons.
anyway, right?
Probably not.
The bakers make like cosmetic frying pans and like baguettes that you get to carry around, and the farmers give you like a pile of barley that you get to go and take around. Oh yeah, I can see this
hoe and a
happening.
rake and things like that.
And the armor guys are just like, just throw this armor at him. It's fine. It's your
Yeah. And it might give
Can't
some nice
imagine.
opportunities for the store. Speaking of which, what's on sale this week?
This week's free sample, the week of August 14th through the 20th, is a sturdy steel key. Use coupon code KEY99, one time per account. And we also have 20% off expansions and expansion quests, which includes Helm's Deep, Rohan, Isengard, Moria, and Mirkwood, and some Pine Leaf stuff, skirmishes and instances. The instance cluster for Isengard, Halls of Night, and End of the Air Forsaken, and Attack at Dawn, Stand at Amonsul, Thievery and Mischief, Defense of the Prancing Pony, Fort of Bruinen, Survival Barrow Downs, Icy Crevasse, and Storm on Methadras. We also have Enhanced XP Supply on sale, Token of the Hornburg, and Mark Acquisition Boosts.
Wow. It's a big sale this week.
Lots
is.
of stuff on sale. Lots of stuff.
Now, the
Thanks,
Token of the
yeah.
Hornburg thing is the thing that gives you like 25% extra XP on kills and stuff.
Up to
Yeah.
level 85.
That's
Yeah, there's different levels that they cap out and stop working at.
Right.
Is that the one that's like the
And-
cool looking shield on your back?
No,
No, you can't
No.
get that anymore.
that one
a
was
special.
that was a
special
pre-order
deal.
for Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about the game back then. I still wanted to see the Hammerhead.
I know.
And I would like to point out
Yeah,
that sales like this usually set it up for big news coming soon. And we're about the
Really?
time when we would be getting big news. So that's kind of
Stay
exciting.
What kind of
tuned,
big
huh?
news are
That's
you
true. There's a
expecting?
lot of expanded content that they're like, hey, buy this old stuff because there's possibility on the horizon. You never know.
What, Minas Tirith?
Yeah, maybe.
It's a big city I've
That'd be
heard about.
cool.
It's kind of a deal.
Yeah, all right. Well, this
This
week,
has been LOTRO Predictions with Andang.
And
And
Pine Leaf.
friends.
this week's LOTRO Players News is brought to you by another good-looking denizen of Middle-earth, this time an elf.
Hail and well met. I'm Kieran the shipwright. There has been some negative press of late regarding my elven bathing products, particularly my famous elf-scented body wash. But I'm here to tell you about a new breakthrough in elven bathing lore that even the burliest shirtless dwarf can't turn down. This formula was discovered by our scholars at Greyhaven's Operational Trust for Enhancements Everywhere, or GOTEE for short. I present to you them beards. Made from ancient botanical and metallurgical elements of Middle-earth, it is guaranteed to stimulate hair growth in all of the races of the free peoples. Dwarves, hobbits, elves, and men. For the first time ever, you truly can buy Durin's beard! And pattern baldness, hobbit peach fuzz, dwarves thinking you're a cute girl elf. All things of the past. Full, luxurious beards are within your grasp, no matter what you have to start with. Now I know what you're thinking. A bearded elf, really? Elrond mocked, and Celeborn scoffed at the idea. But we all know Arwen likes him scruffy. And how Galadriel really feels about them beards. This has been Kierdan, the shipwright for GOTEE, Middle-earth's pioneer on follicular stimulation. Trust me, I'm an
Them beards, the beard you've always wanted, coming to a Lully's Market near you.
Now, biker Kierden Carve might not be returning next week.
I would like to point out that the product is actually called Dem Beards, DHEM, which stands for Dwarves, Hobbits, Elves, and Men. But a little research indicates that the DH sound is actually pronounced in Tolkien as a TH, as in then. So the product sounds like them beards, but it's spelled dem beards. It's rather interesting. Anyway, continue.
Them beards, them big beards.
Like,
them
seriously,
beards,
why
them
was your elf
beards.
guy sounding like a biker dude?
He's old.
That
He's
was like
old.
old and almost pirate.
Old elf.
He was nautical-ish, but not quite pirate. So he was old, and he has a gravelly voice, and he's been around for a while.
Well,
I
Okay.
wasn't going for biker.
Well, Kieran has to be pretty old since he does have a beard, which is very unusual among elves.
Yeah,
Which
he
is
was
why
like one of the
he's-
first elves ever.
Yeah, which is why he's the beard spokesperson for the elven nations.
Or maybe smoking
Let's-
still affects elves at the same pace. We don't know.
Let's head into the news. And our poll this week is, do you think that Andang has run out of poll ideas?
Yes, well, Pineleaf, this guy Andang, sure does a lot of polls. And so we were wondering if you think Andang has run out of ideas. And these answers will make no sense because they're not in order. But here we go. With the top answer was, I read all the possible answers before answering a question with 26%.
Which was the last answer, by the way.
That was the last answer. The second answer was 42 with with 18%. The next answer was insert pine leaf's answer here, which is probably also 42, with 12%.
Which is also 42.
And then Andang, you really should have asked everyone for more poll ideas with 8%. I think this poll proves it with 7%. Other with 5%. Maybe I'm going to vote. Maybe, but I'm going to vote anyway with 5%. Other and maybe were both tied at 10 votes. Yes with 4%. C, I always pick C with 3%, which was also tied with no with 3%. And
I think you have to do these in the correct order.
yeah, you really do. And then you named the monkey Oscar seriously with 3%. I don't think there are even answers. I don't think these are even answers to the question anymore with 3%. If Oscar did run away, I bet he went to the Braxwood with 2%. And clearly Oscar the Pole Monkey ran away with 1%, 2 votes.
Yeah, reading those out of order was
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Anding's just reading nonsense. I might as well read all the colors for the Warsteed stuff. Oh wait, I already did that. Anyway.
All right. Then we have LOTRO Academy, episode 110, the defensive stats.
Actually, can I go back to that poll? It's fascinating, like how many people picked that I read all the possible answers thing.
Yeah.
Like the gap between that is in 26 and 18% doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a huge difference. Like
I answered. That
very
was my
interesting
answer.
social experience.
Yes, but if
I
you
approve.
add 42's results to the Pine Leaf result, they add to a greater than.
Because the Pine Leaf answer is
Ah.
42.
It's 42.
Oh, okay. We're getting into like pollception here.
We are.
Right. Back to LOTRO Academy 110, the defensive stats. And Terry, you have anything to say about that?
Considering I kind of took over that discussion, yeah. It was. I actually mentioned at the end of toward the end of the episode that I felt like I sort of took over the discussion, and having listened to it, I sort of did take over that discussion. But yeah, it's about the defensive stats. And ideally, you want to go back and listen to the other two stats episodes, which are the core stats, episode 99, and the offensive stats, which was episode 102, which was before I was on the show.
Ah.
Which is why I don't have those numbers committed to memory.
You think I have them committed to memory?
Yeah, Pine Leaf, you know everything.
Pine Leaf knows everything.
It's on Pinepedia.
Pinepedia. That's what I was doing. I was checking Pinepedia.
Now,
Yeah,
out of
it's
curiosity,
really in depth in the defensive stats, like probably more in depth than we needed to get.
I don't know, like I didn't get a chance to listen to it. Do you talk about like the whole additive versus cumulative, like that whole nonsense that people always argue about? Like on whether Black Parry and Evade is additive or whether it's like its own separate check?
Versus mitigation?
Nope, never mind. That answers my question.
Yeah, I don't know. We just discussed.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Yeah, no, we just discussed like the stats in and of themselves, not any kind of argument that goes on about them.
Okay, like how they interact with each other.
Right.
Got it. I've always been curious, which one gets counted first? Do we know which one gets counted first between critical defense and mitigation?
Critical defense gets counted first because it's going to depend on whether it's a critical attack.
Okay, so if it's like a critical attack,
defense
it gets
only applies if it's a critical attack.
right.
And
I just didn't know if it counted before mitigations or afterwards. This has been obscure LOTRO discussions with Arathaert and Terry Adwin. Carry on.
Probably we don't have the hard numbers to back it up, but I would imagine that critical defense would come into effect first based on reading the tooltips.
Gotcha.
That would be the logical way to implement it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Again,
Alright.
based on reading the tooltips.
But then what about partial mitigations from block, parry, and evade? Okay.
Ending. I had heard a rumor that you had a little discussion with the Tolkien professor.
I did, but I'm not the one that wrote the article.
No,
Who did
you.
that? Who did that? Well, the article's really short. I mean, I just said
Well, yes,
tell
I.
for
Yes,
everything you want to detail
Nathan
about.
wrote it. Yes.
Anyway,
But Andang, talk about the experience of it. Come
yes,
on,
well, I
Andang.
have to say, Trish, that you've been holding out on us because the offices that you record in over at Mythgard are way nicer than the ones here at LOTRO Players, I must admit. I mean, you got some nice quality like ice cubes and it's great. It's great.
I want ice cubes. Can we get some ice cubes, Andang?
I'm working on it after seeing, the competition here, but
Okay, cool.
No. Yeah, the ice cubes are up in Fort Hell.
That's right.
yeah, it'll take a few months to get down here to the Shire. But anyway,
So anyway,
yes, I did get interviewed by the Tolkien professor for information about Middle-earth lore because that had been going on. And so if you want to learn about the behind the scenes a little bit and also talking about adaptation of Tolkien's world, then this is the podcast for you. We go really, really in depth into some stuff, and it's a lot of fun, so recommend it.
Right, then we now go into a player event, the Harn Kegger Games number 4, which is a 15 event series where they'll be contesting for 30,000 turbine points over at the Laurelin server,
wow.
which is scheduled for the end of August to the 6th of September.
Yeah, this is basically described as the Olympics for Lotro. And the prize pool is really big on this. I don't think I've seen a prize pool this big in actual, like, physical turbine points before. That is pretty impressive. And so, hats off to Turbine for sponsoring this event. And anyone else who might have donated that, I don't know if that was all Turbine or not, but that's amazing that there's that many Turbine points. So, if you're interested in possibly winning Turbine points, head over to Laurelin and get involved.
Do they have a minimum level to participate?
That's a good question, Pineleaf.
From looking at it, it doesn't actually seem like there is, because a lot of the events take place like in Gondomar in the Shire, Needlehole, Archet, Ered Luin. So a lot of them are like races and stuff like that. So no, I would imagine that you can just get yourself a character on Laurelin and go participate in the Olympics.
All right, but if there's a war steed race, then obviously that would
Yeah.
need some leveling.
Yeah.
But we don't know how many events there are and if there are any prizes for cumulative event winning or if it's just for each of the individual events are all scored separately.
Actually, the way it works is that they've got 15 different events, and they've got a new thing this year where you are a part of a nation. So either dwarf, elf, hobbit, or man. Nailed it. Anyways, so each event has like a small prize thing in itself. Like the first one's a horse race, like down the steps from the festival arena, down the steps to Farron's Court, back up to the festival arena. First one up wins. Gold medal winner is 3 gold pieces and 2 500 turbine point codes. And so it's like, and then that person gets 1 point for their nation or 3 points for the nation or whatever. So it's like the Olympics in real life where you get each game has its own award, but overall, whoever wins the most medals gets bragging rights for the whole year. And it's actually pretty cool. So each, like, you don't have to do all of every single 15 events. You can just decide, hey, I'm going to do this one event because I'm really good at running across hot coals in Thorns Hall. And then you could just do that and specialize in that one event and have your little dwarves natural sprinter do that one race.
All right.
Cool stuff.
Okay, then our next item is the first annual Pirate Palooza, which is going to be on September 19, 2015, and that be sound like International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Arr, matey, that sure does.
And that will be on Landreville, where there are some prizes here. First prize 50 gold, 35 gold, 15 gold, and looks like they have things like Tom and the King's Men, Dressed Like a Pirate costume contest, a treasure hunt.
I'm surprised one of the prizes isn't 5 gold in a party.
5 gold at a party. Yeah, that
If you
would
guys
be
don't know what we're talking about, watch Titan's Grave over on DDO Players, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, you'll certainly know what they're talking about. All right, and we also have a LOTRO video highlight is I would stay. And why would you stay, Andang?
Well, because the game makes you stay in Moria. No, this is a really cool thing talking about how basically you'll stay when Gimli won't, and how he's going off and doing other things, and you're staying and helping in Moria with all these different things. And it's a really cool video, and I like how they had like the memories of Gimli like all over the place, and it was really cool. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it fits the song surprisingly well.
All right. And we also have a life concerning hobbits. And this is a LOTRO music story.
Yes, it is a video that goes through some different music and songs and things like that, and it's really cool.
All right, and our next thing is LOTRO and Lore, the White Hand of Isengard.
This is super cool. I do have a question about it though. When basically it's the story of there's like a statue, like a pillar with his white hand on it pointing toward Isengard in Non-Kuranir, but basically Elfroth identifies where this hand comes from, and it's this other statue, and who it is. So basically, and goes into the lore behind it. I'm not going to spoil it. It's super duper cool. Go read it. But is there a quest line in the game that covers that?
No, but they do say in one of the quest lines that they are stealing parts of the statue.
Okay.
And so there is basis for this this lore. And keep in mind that this statue, I believe, does not exist in the actual Tolkien lore. It's a LOTRO made-up statue.
But not so much like how does he know, but more like holy Moses. I don't think I've ever been that observant about anything in my life.
Right. Yeah, it was very amazing that you noticed that.
I remember hearing about a certain piece of vandalism, stuff like this, and I think that when we were in Mythmoot, that might have been one of the things mentioned by our lore monkey.
Yeah, it might have been. I don't remember actually.
Because I remember hearing it mentioned somewhere else. I don't know if it was there or somewhere else with it, but that sounds like a good place for it to have been mentioned.
The more I learn about LOTRO and the lore behind it, I mean, I knew a hefty chunk coming in, like the lore is the reason why I started playing, but the more I learn about the little things that the folks at Turbine do, whether it's stuff like this, like the parallel between the statue and Isengard itself, everything from that to like Bingo Boffin's name, like why it was picked.
Right.
Everything, just the attention and dedication to the lore always blows me away.
Yeah, me too.
All right, and then Lily Kate posted a question is, user chat channels, would you like more?
Yes, and Lily Kate actually talked to me as to why she came up with this article. It's because she's had a ton of people come to her or be mentioning in other places that, hey, we really need some new chat channels. Not that she can do anything about it, but that is a thing that is needed anyway by her. And hopefully they'll add some more, because I think that at least on Landerville it'd be nice to have them, especially with more players coming in with all the server stuff that's going on.
You
So
mean all these user chat channels that I don't currently use? They want to add more?
you're not part of Lonely Mountain Band, are you, Pine? In Lonely Mountain Band, they use like a lot of them. I don't even know off the top of my head, but there's a lot of chat channels that LMB either is the head of using or is very active in using. So yeah, there's a lot of chat stuff. If you're involved in music, then typically you're using a lot of them if you get into that whole community.
Or even not. Like
Right.
I always have all mine used up. But I mean, Fredulous in the chat, what he said happens to me too. I'll end up not remembering which channel's which, and I'll type something in the completely wrong channel,
Yeah.
and it makes no sense whatsoever. And it'd be really cool if there was a way to you know how like when you type /world space, it goes world, and you can see. And it'd be really cool if we could type /1 space, and it'd be like the channel name.
Or
Instead
you
of
can
just
put a
one.
note in your biography saying which one's which, and then that way you can remember by looking your biography.
I don't want to look up stuff about myself every one time I want to talk to other people. Yeah, or you could just type /list channels, but that involves way too much work.
All right. And also, Lily Kate posted another part of her small LOTRO adventure series, episode 24, and Boffin's Bucket Bother. So a nice alliterative title.
To Terry Adwin's favorite quest so far, it seems.
Yeah, definitely my favorite installment so far. But I say that every week.
This is tricky.
They just keep getting better.
Well,
They just
that's a good
keep-
sign.
Well, because they come out on Wednesdays, which is the middle of the week, which is kind of sucky for people who work Monday through Friday. So I come home on Wednesday, and I'm totally blah because I've been at work. And I log into the game, and it's Bingo Boffin Day, and I go do Bingo Boffin, and it gives me the laugh that I desperately need to go on with the rest of the week. Lily Kate did have some technical difficulties with this particular video, but it turned out to be a good thing because she ran across somebody in the process of trying to fix up
She
some of
did.
that stuff.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
But you'll have
We'll talk
to
about that
watch to
later.
find out.
That's right.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I think it's just read the post because I doubt that
Probably.
person is actually in the film. Yeah.
No, the person is in the screenshot's also in the video.
Oh, in the video? Oh,
Yeah,
see, I haven't gone to. Yeah. All right, another autograph opportunity. Yay!
Yeah, that's a rather strange episode trying to make up for the inadequacies of the technology sometimes.
Mm,
I always
Yeah.
feel awkward, like even not to spoil anything about Berngo Burfin, but like stuff
Berngo
like
Burfin.
that is awkward sometimes when you're like you're the in-between person, and that's all I'll say.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
True.
There are too many times when we're the in-between person.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's basically. I mean, that needs to be a title.
The
Eric,
in-betweener.
the in-between.
I can think of a few Rohan quests that would work for
Good.
sure.
Actually, that'd be awkward.
I
I don't want
should-
that title anymore.
Does that mean I should call my next character Pandarus?
Sure.
What?
What?
It's a character from Troyes and Cressida.
Oh my God, Pineleaf, you blow me away! I swear.
Like, wow, that was so deep. It was unfathomable.
See,
I know. I'm impressed all over again. So yes, I think you should name your character that.
Pineleaf, there's gonna be people in car wrecks this week because they're like having headaches over their mind being blown, or just not knowing what the heck you're talking about.
Mind blown.
So,
That's
Well, if you
I'll say
You
what.
somehow name
Pineleaf's-
it like Oreo cream, the in-between.
And then once
I
the
would do
car wreck
that.
happens, they'll say, "I'm sorry, officer. I was listening to Ultra Players News, and this crazy thing happened." And he's like, "Oh yeah, me too. I got in this car wreck earlier with this perpetrator. Man, God, it took a lot of work to do all that paperwork." Ultra Players News. Gosh, those guys.
You're just silly. You're just silly.
Right.
None of us are.
I'm pretty sure that's the entire staff here. Yeah.
That
I
was
know.
like the first
I
thing
was
on
trying
the
to.
prerequisite for
I was trying to
application.
divert. That's right. Silliness.
Fred
Silliness.
in the chat said something that I just have to call out. He says so many NPCs are unwilling to just take 10 steps to talk to another NPC themselves. Sometimes it's not even as many as 10. Sometimes it's like 2.
Talk
Yeah.
to the person next to me. It's
The
like
one.
The person next to me and then talk to the person next to me again.
And then sometimes it's like that they're actually trying to have a romantic relation with another NPC, and they still want you to go and talk to the person
That's
for
right.
you.
Or the one that stands out for me is the family in one of the Rohan towns that's going to move. They're going to like go to Edoras for safety or something like that. And they, they say, "Can you help us with this?" "Sure, I'll go do that." And then you come back and they're like, "Oh, thank you. Can you help with this?" "Yeah, sure, I'll go back to where I just was." And then you go back again and they go, "Oh, great. Can you help us with this?" "Really? Seriously? Could you just have given me all 3 things?"
or when they make you talk, like when they make you talk to the person next to them, it's like, Billy, tell your father that no, I'm not. And he's standing right there. It's like, this is awkward.
Right. All right. We also have another installment of the House of Bjorn, Chapter 5 of the Summons.
Dun, dun,
Dum, dum,
dun.
dum.
As usual, a fantastic installment in the House of Bayorn series. It's been great to read.
Terry has not read.
No, I still haven't read
Oh
it.
wait, but that
Neither
multi-parter is stopped, so you can get caught up now, Terry.
I'm waiting until the series gets further along, that way I can just read a bunch of it at once.
You can just sit and Bayorn binge.
Yeah, when I used to read other fan fiction, I did the same thing. I didn't like reading incomplete stories because I hate having to wait for the next installment.
So it's probably really good that you didn't read The Lord of the Rings when it first released and they had like the first 2 books and then there was like a wait for like a long time.
Yeah, because I totally had to worry about that since it came out before I was born.
That's what I'm saying. It's probably good.
Right. This week we have I think it's the first installment of Ask Pine Leaf in the last 2 years. I think the last
Right.
installment was 2 years ago.
Yeah, you did start out with this series, but it's
Wow.
kind of fallen by the wayside, Pineleaf.
Right. I didn't have many questions, so therefore.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
That would
You
be a
know,
reason.
that's kind of an important element to a show called, or a series called Ask Pineleaf.
Ask-
If nobody asks
Ask
Pineleaf, Pineleaf is not going to say, "Hey, guess what? Pineleaf answers nothing."
Well,
Okay,
Pineleaf,
get out right now and go ask Pineleaf.
yeah, Pineleaf, how can people ask you questions? Do they just leave comments in the previous article?
You could leave comments in the previous article. You could send a message to Pineleaf. Oh, let's see, would be a good let's see.
At Pineleaf Needles on Twitter.
Netcom.com.
Pineleaf doesn't pay attention to his Twitter.
You'll have to repeat the email because I talked over you, I think.
Well, you could send it to my Twitter. That's another possibility.
It may not be the best possibility, but no, I'm just kidding.
5
All
years
right,
later.
but the question is, what is the best skirmish for earning gold? And I go over the things that you need to consider for that, including in that I talk about some of the considerations are fast skirmishes, because most of the gold that you get in a skirmish is at the end, in the final chest at the end. So that tends to be, so if you could do a particular skirmish very quickly, then that's probably a good source of gold for you. If it takes you a long time to do it, it's probably not going to be. If you can only run that one skirmish that night, then you probably want to run a skirmish with lots of lieutenants in, so you get a little bit more that way. But if you're going to be running several consecutive, then you'd want a shorter skirmish. I also talk about Stormwell Methodist because it has that extra ability to loot the corpse in addition to grabbing the chest, so you can get a little extra bounty that way. So that's a very good one if you are able to consistently win at the. I know when I was first doing Stormwell Methodist, I had a habit of not of the boss running away before I could kill her, so therefore you would lose that opportunity if you aren't able to protect the drummers and thus be able to finish off the boss. And I also talked about Rescue at Nurzgashu, which is, I don't know, for me, I find that's the fastest one, but I heard that there are some people who are able to do Tuckbro in half the time that I do Rescue at Nurzgashu.
Yeah, you can cram Tuckborough or the Downinglor one in about 4 or 5 minutes, depending on how fast you are and how willing you are to sacrifice hobbits.
Yes, there is this thing about sacrificing hobbits, which I am unwilling to do. So
That's why
that
you run the Dannenglor one and you
That's where you run
sacrifice
the
elves.
Dannenglor one and you just sacrifice for anything else.
It's less odious. Elves are
Much
Oh,
less
yeah.
emotion involved.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't care if anybody in that skirmish dies. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
It's
And
like
but
a
to
bounder
me,
has been
the
defeated.
entire point of the
Good.
skirmish is to rescue prisoners. So if I don't sincerely try to rescue the prisoners, it
Well, you're
seems
pretty much
pointless.
only after the one guy prisoner. The other ones are like just there.
Well, Pineleaf, if you don't rescue the prisoners, then you're really helping NPCs start to do things for themselves. Let's be honest
Yeah.
here.
Oh, we're not being enablers in that point. Okay, that sounds like a good idea.
We'll go with it. It's like, well, in Tuckborough, you see a bounder has been defeated, and you're like, there's like 4 left now, because however many there were. If I paid attention to the LOTRO lore video, I would know how
Clearly.
many there were. Yeah,
Usually about a dozen, I think.
yeah, I think so. It's
No,
like a
but
bounder has
that's the
been
number of
defeated.
sheriffs there are, not the number of bounders.
Oh, true.
Uh,
So a bounder has been defeated, and you're like, no. But when you do strike against Dannenglor and you do the speedrun version where you just see counterattack and you're like, no, bye, you're on your own. And you run to the next one instead. And then you see later it's like, Lalindiniran has been defeated. And you're like, don't care.
Yeah. Well, there is, of course, there are
Much
also
distortion.
some players who are able to do the counter, who are able to get through Dannenglor so fast that they finish off the boss and take the control point before any of the elves die.
Wow. I don't know. I can't picture that.
Yeah,
I think it would take so long just to capture all the points in succession.
Well,
I
I've
want to
also
see that.
seen
It's
some
cool.
with what they do is they grab the ones making the counterattack, then they drag those people to the same location where everybody else is, and they just kill them both. You have to be a champ in order to do that, I think, because who else is going to have enough AoEs to wipe out?
Guardian,
Excuse me.
Guardian could
probably
be.
do it.
Yeah.
Guardian
Yeah.
gets aggro from like everywhere.
I may have to try now. Or you could just kill everybody and then capture the point, and do it that way.
Well,
And-
there
and that
is
way
that, but that requires you to backtrack.
Yeah. I must test.
Yeah. All right. But those are some of the possibilities. But the idea there, though, is to run offensive skirmishes because offensive skirmishes give more money than defensive skirmishes for some obscure reason. And do the ones that are relatively quick, and that tends to get you more money. As I said, if you could do Methodress, and that's fine. But in my case, I don't know, I always find Methodress as taxing, so therefore it's not one that I would do in order to get lots of money if I was inclined to do so.
That's because you're a cautious player. For those of us that are like, yeah, kill all the things. I love Storm on
first.
Methodress.
Yeah, it's
Yes, those people love Stormwell Methodress, and
Face first.
yeah, you got a point there. If your style works well with Methodress, then great, have at it. That is going to be a great source of income. And we also have another installment of Poems of the Pine, and this time we are up in the Misty Mountains. Nowhere near us was the Nazgul we sought, so to the Misty Mountains we made our way. We asked Glowing if he could guess the place where the Shadow Servant did sit and wait. We searched the goblins to gain some news, but all we found was a foul dour hand. We sought the key to the keeper they hid, and found Skorgrim the cruel, a creature most fell. When Skorgrim we slew, could scarcely pause, for a spirit of spite sped from his corpse. We had to head to Helegrod to learn the lay, or what lay, to unleash a fell scheme. There drugeth a deathmonger, a dragon. Oh, did wait. Okay, there. Good grief.
It's your poem, Pine Leaf.
There, Drugat the Deathmonger, a dragon did wait, with fierce most fell from the fortress of Angmar. Yet, yet he could not keep the crafty drake as it flew away to the fog and night. We now could face the Nazgul we sought and send it from our sight. Out from the mountains to Mordor it fled, to leave our lands at last.
Yay.
Awesome.
I think, it's terrible to say, but I think one of my favorite parts about the poem this week is actually the part that's not the poem, it's the part right after the poem. Now that we have dealt with the Nazgul, we can head into the nice, peaceful land of Angmar.
Yes. Out of the cold into the yuck.
Alright, let's go to the new player question. And Nathan, what's in store this week?
I want to go on record right now to say that this question has been planned on the schedule for quite some time, and everyone will understand what I mean by that when we get into a later section. What is the button on my login screen that says Monster Play? What does that mean?
That's basically the fun part of the game.
Oh, bold words, sir. That is one of the
Ooh,
many
we're gonna
fun
get
aspects of
get
the game.
letters on that one.
You can send all hate mail to @Arathaert on Twitter, and he will be
Exactly.
glad to
And
take all of
Arathaert may
it.
not be here next week because he may be stoned to death before next
Oh,
week's show.
wow.
Basically, that's how you get on your creeps. That's how you get to play if you want to play a warg or a spider or a orc or uruk or whatever. That's how you get there. Once you get to level 10, you have the ability to make a monster player. So that's what PvM
And it's
is.
in addition to all of your free players, right? I mean,
Yep.
This is a whole different thing.
Whole different thing.
Whole
It's a
different
whole new world.
Can you
So
have multiple characters in Monster
you
Play or just
can.
one?
You can.
Yes.
You
You start
usually
off as. Go ahead.
the default mode is that you can have one of each class. So there's 6 different classes on Creep side. They don't have mirrored classes like I play a hunter. I want to play a hunter with scoliosis and an evil face. Like it's not the same.
That's true. They do have scoliosis,
They
don't they?
do.
Oops, they all bend over.
It's not.
I
It's
want to
not
be one
like
of those little
the
skinny
same-
guys that runs around with a pot of fire over his head.
I know. The people have been talking about wanting a goblin class for a long time, but we
That
don't
would
have.
be
goblin
awesome
classes.
to have like a goblin lobber engineer class. It's like all about traps.
I've been
and
saying that for
firebombs.
years.
That
Yeah.
would be so cool.
That would be
It would be cool.
awesome.
But
that's
yeah,
cool.
so
And
like
it's player versus player. This is the player versus player part of the game. And I know
Yeah,
y'all have
this
talked
is-
about that a lot in the show, but I think there, especially new players, new MMO players, I should say, are probably not, like what the heck is player versus player. So
basically the way,
Monster Plays, we get to be the bad guy, right?
yeah, you get to be the bad guy in Middle Earth, and like if you want to play a warg and jump and pounce on people from stealth and
For
shadows,
example.
you can do that.
For
Or if
example,
you want to
just
be your
example,
own,
pick one at
or if you
random.
want to be your
Yeah.
own mini Shelob, you can do that. So basically, it's you have your monster players. You can have one of each class, unless you like transfer one from a different server. Then you can have multiples of the same class. But you can have one of each class usually, and you get this character, and you go out, and you have your own version of leveling and progression. And it is a learning curve. It's quite different from the regular game, but it's basically the same system. It started originally as like a session play thing that you could do, and kind of evolved into its own thing. It's a ton of fun. But basically, that's how you get that little monster play button. You click that, and you get to see all of your monster play characters, and you can make them and stuff like that. And then you click free peoples to go back to your normal good looking characters.
So then now on the opposite side of that, then people on the regular side, the fun side, the regular middler side, can actually go fight, right? I mean,
Yep.
it's the Etmors, right? Go to the
There's the
Etmors and you
Etmors,
go be a
and there's the new
good
map,
guy.
which is Osgiliath. It's like a revised, simplified version of
Right.
Osgiliath. So you can
Yep.
go to those two places and those two special like gated maps, and you can fight the monster players there. If you're a free to play player, you can only do Reaver until you buy the class that you want, a different class with turbine points. But VIP can play all the different classes.
Yep, and I do want to mention that if you're on the side of the free peoples of Middle-earth, that you do have to either pay for the amount of time you want to play, which if you're wanting to try it out,
Wow.
then you can, but otherwise it's not economical to do that, really.
Yeah.
So you'd want to subscribe if you really wanted to go and
Wait, so
do
like
PvP.
to be a premium player or a VIP player, one of the two.
You
Yeah.
can't be premium to go
Premium or
to.
VIP, or
You have to be
oh, so you have to be
VIP
VIP.
or
Oh.
pay for the game time, but it's not. It's like an hour at a time for like a lot of. I don't know what it
so you
is
might as well
exactly,
just-
but
It's Mithril
lot.
coins.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
coins for like 6
Oh, is
hour
it? Okay.
unlock or something like that. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, it's not economical to do that. But if you're wanting to try it out, it's a good way to try it out, I guess. Or if you got a lot of like mithril coins from a Hobbit present, then maybe you want
If
to
you
do
have
it
a
there.
lot of mithril coins and you have a grudge against Lalia, that's something you can use them on.
But you use them to. If you had a grudge against Lalia, you'd want to take a Reaver and go to Whore Hollow.
Exactly. Which is free to play.
Right.
Interesting. So
Anyway,
thanks. I mean,
let's
hopefully
return
we'll
to
have
the
some
real
questions
game.
about that.
Whoa! You can send all pine leaf,
Wow.
all hate mail to pine leaf
Wow.
at pine leaf needles.
I just hear a gauntlet flung down on the concrete.
Man, this is
Well, I
like
mean,
the
there's-
hate
there's
mail
a
week
lot.
on LOTRO Players News.
Like, no kidding.
Well, it's not much of a secret that Pineleaf does not like monster play.
Well, yeah, because he has not figured out the map yet.
And now there's a new map, Pineleaf.
Another map to get lost in.
This one's way simpler and smaller, though, to be honest.
It
I'll
is.
still get lost in
Not
it.
But
simple,
people still
but
get
smaller.
lost.
There,
I
'cause
could get lost in Mickle Delving.
Especially now that there's all those flowers
now
around
there's
the
all this
statue.
like foliage. Yeah, it's easy
So
to get
Pineleaf
lost.
is no longer allowed
Yeah.
to leave anywhere on Fridays. So I don't know what we're gonna do because none of us know where we're going.
All right.
well.
Let's go to last week in Lotro. Ending, what were you up to?
Yes, well, I did one thing because I did 4 things last week, so I'm, on a diet.
There you go.
I helped a hobbit do gift returns. So Maven, what did you do this week?
Well,
The bingo
okay,
box
and
and
now you'll know
Lotro
about this will explain my disclaimer. I rolled Mavenpaw the Warg on Gladden and got to watch Grandpa Arathaert pee on the free people of Osgiliath.
Yeah.
Woohoo! And I ran around with Ma Terry Fluffs and got to rank 3. Arathaert, you didn't know I got to rank 3.
I did know. I was there.
And then
No, she
No,
was
you
almost at
weren't.
rank 3
I got
that
to
day.
rank
We actually went
3.
back the next day.
Oh wow.
You went
I am
back
very
next
proud
day
of
and-
that.
Wow, look at
Are
you.
you
Look at
proud?
that.
Proud and impressed,
So
my grandpa.
You even got yourself
Grandpa-
up to like
Grandpa Warg.
Audacity 4 or 5 or something too.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And
I just keep.
I would just like to
I got
say-
more Audacity.
I would just like to say that she not only did all that stuff, but she spent turbine points and mithril coins on skills and traits.
I did.
That
really
tells
bad.
you it's
Profligate.
serious.
I just spend my mithril coins and turbine points like water. It's just a terrible, terrible thing. But I did well, partly because I, like you poor guys had to keep like coming back to get me because I was going so slowly. I needed to speed up. So anyway, yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, it's actually kind of interesting. We got to go to Osgiliath, and that was really, really interesting to me because I got to actually watch, which you can do, or you can stealth, so you can just watch as opposed to fight.
Yeah, that happens.
Some of the PvP stuff, which was, it's just really interesting. It's just really interesting to watch. So anyway, and then back in not Hobbit, in Pickle Delving, I ran into Lizzie Rose at Bingo Boffin's house. It was so exciting. It was so exciting. And I got to be in her video. Well, I got to be still in her video. That was really cool. It was like I walk up and I'm like, it's Lizzie Rose, and then Lizzie Rose goes, Maven. I'm like, Lizzie Rose. So, I mean, how often does that happen that you run into somebody that you know? So anyway, that was really fun. So
Yeah,
Arathaert,
that's cool.
what did you do last week?
I ate Hobbits in a Horror Hollow with Trish.
Nom 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 nom.
Lots of fun. And yeah, I would just two things about the whole wargness that happened. Apparently, I had too many children at once, or I tried to. There appears to be a limit on the number of children you can have, which is 2. And I'm like, I'm a prolific warg. What can I say?
Man, wargs breed with packs, man.
Yeah.
They drop litters, not like onesie twosies.
Yeah, but apparently the onesie twosie warg thing is what happened. And so I have my girlfriend's warg, and then I adopted Terry, and then Terry adopted Maven. So I'm Grandpa Arathaert, or Grandpa Lucky.
By the way, I do want to just say one thing about this, and I'm in Arathaert's time, but I had Terry when she first said to me way back when, like, what 2 months ago, you should do Monster Play. I'm like, I didn't say it's never going to happen, but it's like, so far off. It's not far. But these two strategically like just ate away at me, just like you should do it. And Terry did that, and then Arathaert came in for the kill and said, "Okay, it's tonight. I want you over on Gladden." There's, it's like every objection I had, he just blew away. So it's like it's their fault that I'm now.
I feel like that makes this sound so awful. But yeah, there was a couple times it happened where there was some wargs killing like these 3 freeples, and I jumped in and I started nomming on people too, and I looked behind me, and Maven and Terry's wargs are standing there in stealth watching, and I'm like, y'all can, you can jump in.
We're watching. I'm too low ranked with these guys. They're like completely like intimidating me. I died. Remember, I tried. I fought with the lore master and I died. Plus, by the way,
yeah.
I want to say, having been like dragged, he couldn't get me away from Horror Hollow. I mean, it's like, Trish, we need to go. We got something waiting for. No, just one more Hobbit. One more Hobbit. No, but really, no.
Once she tasted the blood of Horror Hollow Hobbit, that was it. There was this guy that was soloing a keep for us so she could turn in her map quest.
Yeah.
And it was tough to pull her away from Horror Hollow so we could go get that done.
No, we gotta go.
All looking good, huh?
But right before the warg, I guess my second thing is my lore master has serious vagabond style issues going on. Had a lot of fun. I got my lore master, played it, got up to level 12 on my Bingo Boffin Level Addicts Wednesday thing. So that was kind of the second and third point combined. But at first I was like, I'm gonna play this guy, and I named him Arathaert, like Gandalf, and I gave him this big long beard, and I was gonna be like, he's gonna be a lore master wizard guy. But he kind of took on the whole style of his own. I think I can blame Maven for saying that he looked like Vagabond, or I don't know who it was. It was somebody in the stream chat, and it just kind of snowballed. He basically
he looks like Aqualung. He looks like the cover, the album cover of Aqualung, Jethro Tull's album. That's what he looks like.
Cool. I'm not old enough to know that.
It's like totally lost. I know. That's
So yeah, he's got serious vagabond style issues. He's got the sleeveless thing with a big floppy hat going on. It's bad. But
and no shoes.
Tons of fun. And no shoes. Yeah, no shoes. That's a mandatory thing now. So I need to have a style consultation, I think, with Terry and Lillicate and get him some good cosmetics going on before this becomes a serious issue.
And a bath.
And
a bath. Go talk to Kierden.
Before the
no, that's the beer.
Before the fashion police throw him in the Bree jail.
Yeah.
Hey, Kierden also has elf-scented body wash, so there's the
Oh,
thing.
okay.
That's funny.
So Carpet.
And now for something completely different. This week in Lotro actually is going to be Adventures with the Carvelets. All three of my children decided to contribute to my fun in Lotro this week, so I figured I'd share with y'all. My middle child comes in one day. She looks at my screen. She bursts into laughter and says, "Ha ha ha! Dad's playing a girl." At which point I look up and I realize she's pointing at my blonde RK male elf.
Carve, how does that make you feel?
It makes me laugh uproariously because she's looking at the elf going, "It's a girl," and I'm going, "How appropriate," given the last week's ads. So that made me laugh a lot. Now, granted, he is a very flamboyant elf with a bright blue robe, but whatever. And then later in the week, I was actually playing with my youngest, Little Miss, as we call her, and we made it out of Arquette, and she is apparently much more resistant to this spider fear than her mom is. We're running through the spider caves, and she gets lost, and she's like, "Dad, where am I?" And I'm like, "Come over this way." Whereas when I do the same spider cave with Mrs. Carve, it's, get it away! Um, just kind of a side note, I think it was last week after the show we were talking about creating wargs and stuff, and I got Mrs. Carve to log into her account on Gladden and create a warg pup that I will eventually mirror, and we'll be able to come join the wargy fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I didn't remember to tell her that there is an up close and personal picture of a giant spider when you click on the Weaver name. So she she clicked Weaver and went, "Ah! You guys were born a girl!" And I went, "Oh yeah, there's a spider in Monster Play. I forgot to mention that." Yeah, Little Miss didn't have any problem with it. Big Miss was the third cardlet I ran with this week, and we were also playing together. Also doesn't have any problem with spiders, but she is a huge fan of the color pink in like Barbie Pinkapalooza ridiculous. So I have a whole vault full of rose dyes, and I'm like, "I don't need these." She's like, "Dad, can you give me some dye? I want to dye my cape." It's not a cloak to her, it's a cape. So I'm like, "All right, here's a rose dye." And she dyes her cape, and she's, "Oh, this is fantastic." I'm like, "You want some more?" So I throw a whole bunch at her. I turn around. Next thing I know, she's running across the streets of B going, "Ha ha, the Pink Crusader rides again." Because she has done herself and her entire armor in pink. So now
What
she's,
is she? Is she a champion or a
oh,
captain or something?
she is now a Barbie Pink Guardian. And so she's running around the lone lands, and we're both, we're fighting goblins, and every time I was like, "Okay, we got to get on our horses and go to the next hub," she's like, "Ha ha, the Pink Crusader rides again." She mounts up, and our Barbie Pink Guardian is charging across the plains, and I'm like, "Okay, so now I got to have a cool name." So I'm on the same arcade, but later on I'm wearing my green traveling outfit, so I'm like, so it'll be The Adventures of the Pink Crusader and Arcade Verde. So that was one of the things we did this week that was
That's
fun.
cool. Family time in the
In
Carve
all
household.
honesty,
That's
when
honest.
when I picture Pink Guardian, pink like Barbie Pink Guardian, I'm like, I'm a tanky girl in a tanky
Yeah,
world.
pretty much. That's kind of it. I'm like, hit that skill, the lion face. Yeah, hit the lion face. It makes them mad. They're not hitting me. Good. Hit the lion face. Now hit the one with the shield on it. So I'm teaching her the concepts of challenge and war cry, and I'm like, yes, Barbie Pink Guardian, the Pink Crusader. So Terry Adwin, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. I got to rank 6 with Terry Fluffs the Warg,
Go, mom, go.
Yay.
Go, mom, go.
which was
Go,
pretty.
daughter, go.
She's been real close. Yeah, and got adopted by Lucky Luck, and then adopted Maven Paw.
Yay.
I missed Maven Paw's first outing in Whore Hollow, but because somebody wanted to go over a script for the lore series,
Oh,
so
God.
I know had to log out of the game and get on a Skype call.
Slave
Totally
driver.
not related to Lotro.
You can say I'm busy. You don't have to.
No, actually, I did because I had because I had agreed to the call prior to getting in the game with the work. So I actually
she's
did
very
have to-
fair-minded.
Yeah, I had already said that I was going to do script editing. So
You being all responsible.
I
stuff.
know.
I know.
But it's okay, because I got back in time to find that Maven Paw was rank 2, and she had her Grams map, and they're still playing around, and I said, well, let's show her the Osgiliath map. And then we discovered that there's a quest in Osgiliath where you can go steal chickens.
Yeah.
Oh
And,
yeah, that was
you know,
awesome.
because of Arathaert with chickens, we had to go steal the chickens.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Nice.
So
I also got to go visit the Nazgul. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Terry earned a skill.
Yes, I earned my pea puddle on my ward. So excited.
Now, let me get this straight. Bladder control issues is actually a monster player debuff.
It's strategic. It's a strategic pea puddle. It's not just
strategic
It's
bladder
not
incontinence.
incontinence.
Is that what I'm hearing? It's a strategic.
Well, you know,
it's like I am now going to pee on this person. That's right.
I am marking my territory so that y'all can't run away from me.
Eldeleth in chat says it's a mitt debuff. I'm like, it's a might debuff. It's a mitigation debuff. It's a oh my gosh, get it off me, get it off me, get it off me debuff.
Well, yeah, especially these, the players that are all dressed up in their very cool outfits and stuff.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure
You wanna ruin that
that's-
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Do I want to stay armored or I want to keep the smell? Ooh, tough call.
And then
No,
go ahead.
Unfortunately, my mind is like, well, if there's a number 1 debuff, is there a number 2 debuff?
Oh.
Is that like
Maybe.
a movement
Maybe in
speed
higher-
debuff or something? Does it come with a disease, damage over time element? I don't know.
You know what, Carve? You're just gonna have to come creepside and find out for yourself.
should.
That's
There you
right,
go.
that's
The
right.
gauntlet was thrown down and it's got warg slobber on it.
You will have to bring a bag with you, though.
I know, it's like, come play with us. Come play
bag.
like a monster moment. Okay, I'm done.
Please don't do that again.
So that happened.
So that happens. It's a very calm voice of Andan comes in. So what'd you do in Lothlorien, Terry?
Well, I ran around Lothlorien with my Elven Runekeeper, Lashillian, which, by the way, I should mention, this is actually the first time I've done a lot of questing in Lothlorien, because normally I get to where they send me to sing at trees, and I'm like, nope, done. So, she's like the 4th character to make it into Lothlorien, and the first one that's actually discovered that there's more stuff to do there than sing at trees. She got squished a couple of times by the orcs over in that orc camp, because I keep forgetting, because I don't play her often enough, so I keep forgetting that she is not a minstrel, and she can't tank things with her face or even the shiny rock. And you have to be really careful of your pulls or you get squished.
Yes.
But she's up to level 62, and back in Moria. She's almost done with Moria. I actually logged out because right before the podcast, because I'm thinking, oh, I could maybe play during the podcast, and then I have to do the Waterworks and Mirror Halls instances for the Epic, and it's like, no, not doing that while I'm trying to talk about other stuff. Not happening. So that'll maybe be my highlight for next week, is maybe she'll actually be done with Moria and somewhere else. And then my burglar Sarissa has had some so-so luck with the RNG this week. She had some sweet gear drop in a couple of instances, which is pretty uncommon for her, because normally I get junk or nothing. But the treasure hunt has not been really kind to her, because I play on Landreval, and it's competition with like 50 other people for the same 12 berry bushes, and I do a lot of swearing during that event.
Oh, darn, resurrecting us,
Me on Twitter, they will be aware of how frustrated this is. Sent out a couple of tweets of everybody near me needs to just go take somewhere else.
Yeah, I saw that one. I was like,
Yeah.
Well, and I think it was Thursday or Friday I was tweeting about how I was swearing a whole lot, and really glad I wasn't actually on calls with people, because there's a lot of profanity that comes out of me during that event, because it's just drives me really crazy trying to deal with all of that mess. So
Fredulous in the chat says Barry Sweary.
yes, very
It
very.
was very
But-
swear.
Very swear.
Very swear.
So for the devs that we know listen to this show, the next time the treasure hunt comes around, before that happens, please fix this, because I'm really tired of it and it sucks.
Now, one thing I thought Terry Adwin would mention, but I didn't, was that in addition to all this other fun stuff we did, we were able to complete both the mirrored halls and the water wheels in a 3-man with no healer. It was champ, captain, and a
Wow.
burglar, and we were able to finish challenge mode both times. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Nice.
We only had one wipe, and that was because we wasn't really paying attention the first time in the boss
that
fight.
was the Pistons. We got stuck
Okay.
under
Yeah.
this.
But you had a captain and a burglar, both of whom are capable of healing.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it
Burglar
wasn't
was
like we had no
running reflex,
official
so no
heat.
real healing stuff.
Yeah, well, the captain had the tank side. He was tanking. I was the champ blowing stuff up, and Sarissa was popping FMs if and when needed. So
Yeah.
I mean, it was coordinated, but we didn't have an official healer per se.
Burglar with lots of FMs gives you green, gives you heal.
Okay, you're right. It wasn't as epic as I thought it was, but I thought it was pretty good. This is Carve. That was Pine Leaf shooting me down. But since Pine Leaf is coming up, Pine Leaf, you are now going to talk about your week, right?
Yes, I am. All right, on Arkenstone, my Bjorning headed into Forhell with Terry Adwin, Draculetta, and another kin member. And we were basically doing quests up there because we didn't have Maven with us. We decided not to do our Angmar instances until she was
Thank
able to meet with
you.
us.
You're waiting for me. That is so nice.
All right. So we were killing lots of stuff in the snow and trying to help a rather incompetent fellowship. And next my ring bearer reached level 49 and started in Eregion.
We got to catch
And-
up with you. Mary and
Right?
Pippin need to catch up with you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
well, we're heading down to Oregon next this week.
We are.
Are we?
Yeah.
Right, so you must be getting
42.
close to 49.
Yeah, we are.
What?
We
We're
really we
42,
need to go protect
41.
Frodo.
Unless you're talking
Are we?
about a different server.
No,
No.
2 angry hobbits and a well-dressed man.
Yeah, that's like we're 41, 42.
That's
yeah, we're
close.
heading down to Oregon.
Same
Reagan's
decade.
a bit high for that. I think we'll be a little bit challenged.
Hmm.
The answer is
Be fine.
always 42.
We'll be fine.
The Pine Leaf
We'll be
answer.
fine. As Corey Olsen says, it'll be awesome.
Right. And on Winfola, I continued with my run on Thievery and Mischief, where I'm still collecting data on that. So let's go into our donations, and we currently have 16 supporters on Patreon, and if you would like to join this illustrious raid of players and help the LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest host with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. And how far are we from the next goal?
Yes, well, Pine Leaf, we are less than $20 away from a DDO 1 year of VIP being given away. So that would be huge. And
Just
then
think.
following right after that, a 1 year of LOTRO VIP. So the next two goals are really cool, and we would appreciate your support to help support the network.
Sweet.
Just think, you could be a part of all this craziness, like in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
How
real.
crazy!
Fine.
That would be so
Join
much fun.
us.
You should. That, not to make it sound weird, but join us.
I was like, join us. Join us.
It is your destiny.
Right. Our featured comment this week from Fredless writes. And Carvet, could you please read what Fredless writes?
Before
Sure.
Carve does, I would like to point out that Pine Leaf conveniently skipped over the fact that we have not had any iTunes reviews, and it has been a while since we've had an iTunes review.
Good
And
job.
Pine Leaf knows everything, And so he knows that you want to leave us a review on iTunes. You've been telling yourself, well, maybe not, but Pineleaf knows the true you, and he knows that you want to leave that review on iTunes. And so you should go over to iTunes and search for LOTRO Players News and leave us a review. And we
That
would
was
thank you
confusing.
for a long time.
People that just got crashed earlier in the episode, that got in their cars to drive home again after all the paperwork was filled out, just crashed again.
Which gives them time to leave a review on iTunes. So there you
That's
go.
right, while they're
While you
waiting.
wait for the police to come.
On your phone, on your iPhone.
Yes, while you're on your phone. Wow.
Carfet.
Can I read what Fredulous writes? Yes, I can. Fredulous writes, I choose other. But it's so simple. Andang has not run out of poll ideas, or this poll would not be here, so clearly I cannot choose the option in front of me. But this poll would not be here if Andang had not run out of ideas, so I can clearly not choose the option in front of you.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Wait till I
Kind
get
of-
going. Anyway,
It's kind of the Schrodinger question, huh?
Where was I?
That voice was way better than the biker elf dude.
I would disagree.
I
I
disagree.
disagree. I thought that was a
I
good
thought the
Kiernan.
biker elf was awesome.
It's an awesome
I
Kieran.
did too.
All right, next email. Who's got it?
Right. All right. Barnabas writes, Hello, LOTRO players. I have a question for the gang at LPN. I am always looking out for some good podcasts, which can be difficult to find. Seeing as we have similar interests, LOTRO, what non-LOTRO related podcasts do you enjoy listening to? I am a regular listener to The Nerdist and Henry and Heidi. And that's from Barnabas from the chat. P.S. I have been seeing Kaylee Starshine out in the moors this week. I mourn every time she is defeated. Keep bringing the fight, Starshine.
Morning in the moors.
I listen to a couple podcasts when I think of it and remember to. Neither one of them are related whatsoever to LOTRO or gaming in the least. One is Welcome to Our Podcast, which is Mike Falzone. He's a great comedian and thoroughly entertaining. Basically, it's him and his, I guess, fiance now, and they do this podcast every week, and it's like the first thing in the morning before they talk to each other at all. And so you hear the first thing that happens, and they talk about their week, and it sounds really simple, but it's always fun. And then Rhett and Link's Ear Biscuits is I selectively listen to. If I'm interested in the person that's on it, that's always an interesting one. You always learn cool things. And of course, there's the Bragg's Beacons podcast,
Yes.
Light the Beacons,
Like the beacons.
which is LOTRO related. And then Rough Draft, which is about writing. That's another interesting one.
All right. Well, I like a lot of podcasts. If you really want to know someone who listens to a lot of podcasts, ask Brannick on Twitter. He would be more than happy to answer because he listens to a ton of podcasts. But I listen to a few. First of all, plugging our sister sites, Guild Wars Players News and DDO Players News are two podcasts if those interest you. And many of you probably know that Maven is on the Tolkien Professor podcast. You can listen to that. In case somehow you don't know and you only listen to this podcast and don't go to our site, LOTRO Academy is another podcast here on LOTRO Players. I also listen to Screen Junkies Movie Fights, a really cool podcast where a bunch of people get together and fight about movies, which is actually what gave us the idea for the Skirmish of the Week, which we haven't done in 2 weeks, I've been told. There's also Beyond Boss Fights, Brax Wolf's awesome podcast. It's award-winning podcast that you should listen to, where he does only one episode once a month, but that episode is like podcast gold. It's some of the best podcasting out there. There's also LOTRO Reporter, and they do awesome stuff reporting on the news of LOTRO in case you want to hear another opinion each week, or you like them better, go listen to them. But leave us a review on iTunes first. You can also listen to the Geek Box. I'm not done, Pineleaf. Don't think I'm done.
But wait, there's more.
You can also listen to
Andang
the Geek
will
Box,
continue
which
to ramble on
is
until somebody-
a podcast that actually combines gaming and movies. into a single podcast, and so it's literally the Geek Box. It's all things geeky. They do comics as well, and all sorts of stuff. So that's a really cool one. There's also IGN's Podcast Beyond, which is a fantastic PlayStation podcast. It's the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet. Highly recommend that. There's Elder Scrolls Off the Record, which is an Elder Scrolls podcast. And there's also Through the Palantir, which is Ivan's LOTRO PvP podcast. So if you liked hearing what Maven and Arathaert and Terry were talking about earlier in the show, you can listen to more PvP stuff with Through the
about the fun
Palantir.
part of the game.
Yeah, so that is my current podcast feed that I just read through. So there you go.
I'm gonna jump in because mine's really short. Because I listen to Brax, and in the spirit of listening to Brax, he's part of the Gaming and Entertainment Network, which includes a number of affiliated podcasts. So, and they have a site, tgenetwork.net, which you can go to and check out the other podcasts that are available there.
And I'll be fast too, because the other thing, I'm just, besides being biased, I mean, I used to listen to a lot of different podcasts. I don't know, nowadays I seem like I'm listening to audiobooks. But to expand on what Andang said, the Tolkien Professor podcast is one that's the separate feed Tolkien Professor, but also the Mythgard Academy courses, which certainly I think can be listened to as podcasts, are under. If you're on iTunes, it's on iTunes U, and then otherwise they're listed on the Mythgard.org site. You can download it from there. And he does courses on other things besides books. You know, he did one on Ender's Game, Watership Down. He's going to be in a few weeks starting a free course on Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I'm trying to remember what else. Dune, he did a course on. So if you like, you know, basically other, you know, stuff, other fantasy science fiction stuff, those are really interesting. So they're like between 8 and 10 week, you know, one lecture a week. So, you know, you get that.
I
did a bunch of the Tolkien
I did
books.
think about the Tolkien podcast, but I totally forgot to mention it because I have a Windows phone, and for some reason they don't work on Windows Phone podcast
Really?
thing. Yeah, it's bizarre.
Oh, bummer.
So it's not actually part of my feed. I was like, no. I keep forgetting how
Oh.
much I miss it until somebody says, I heard that is just the Tolkien Professor podcast.
Yeah,
And I'm like, no.
Yeah. Like yesterday, we did film. We did the latest film episode. It's not out yet, but we were talking about planning the first season of the Silmarillion TV show that we're never going to produce. And so during the first season, we were talking about, you know, the building of the lamps, which is a big thing that the Valar do, you know, when they first settle on Middle Earth. And so Melkor and Sauron will be part of that. And we were talking about having them in tool belts and with tape measures and clipboards. So just picture Melkor. That's how serious. I mean, it's serious academic stuff here. So you know, you got to be really serious to listen to that podcast.
They're serious.
Anyway, so that's basically, you know, when I listen to stuff now that aren't books on tape, that's where I go. There and, you know, LPN. And so.
I just checked again. The Tolkien Professor podcast is working now.
Yay! It's magic.
My life is about to get more distracted.
You get to hear me laugh a lot more.
Yeah. I'm so excited right now.
So I bet Pine Leaf has a long list.
Podcast list? Oh, sure.
Finally
Yes,
checked
you
out.
would
He's
like
like,
this.
Andang's probably still listing his podcasts.
Yes. If you'd like to contact us, you could email us at podcast@lotroplayers.com. You could send things there, such as you could send questions for Ask Pineleaf.
Yes.
You could also follow us on
There you
Twitter,
go.
the Players Alliance @Players Ally, Lotro Players @Lotro Players, Anding @PVMP_Anding, Arathaert @Arathaert, Carvet @Carvet LP, Lily Kate @Lily Kate Buggins, Maven @Tolkien Maven, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, and Terry Adwin @Terry Adwin. The Players Alliance has 3 live shows every single week. On Mondays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Caesar Time, we have DDO Players News. On Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. U.S. Caesar Time, we have Guild Wars Players News. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Caesar Time, we have LOTRO Players News. You can join us for our live shows at lotroplayers.com/live. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.